Well, good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me at the back? Okay, so first of all, Canadians have spoken, and particularly Canadians in Central Okanagan, Similkameen, Nicola, and I want to thank them for their ongoing support. We have a lot of volunteers who have worked here. Let's please give them a big round of applause. Elections don't just win themselves. And many supporters here who have given me a lot of great advice, and most of all, my family. I want to thank each one of you from the bottom of my heart. You know, I love working as a member of Parliament, and I'm so excited to have another mandate. I love people. I love working on problems. So I'm looking forward to doing the people's work in Ottawa, and just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your support. So this has been a really long campaign. It always feels longer than it is. But I just want to also just take a moment to step back and thank all of the other candidates that ran for office in Central Okanagan, Similkameen, Nicola. It is so easy to complain about our system or our democracy, but it really takes guts to stand up in front of your neighbors, in front of your family, in front of people you don't know, and tell them you have a vision for this country. So let's please give a big round of applause to all the other candidates who stood for office and their supporters. So from the view of Central Okanagan, Similkameen, Nicola, all I can say is Mr. Trudeau has received a stern rebuke for his policies. Now there's going to be a lot of work just to discuss, how we're going to be moving forward. But all I can say is I will continue to champion your voices in Ottawa. I will make sure that I am as accessible as possible, come back to be accountable as possible, and in this new 43rd Parliament, to get as much results for the people of Central Okanagan, Similkameen, Nicola, so you can feel proud of the representation you have. What I'm celebrating tonight is, first of all, another mandate for myself, but also the additional 20 plus seats that we know of right now. There could be more as the night progresses, but also to be winning the popular vote. Again, Canada's a big country. People want different things in different parts of it. So, I think we should take, tonight's results, as a positive step forward for the Conservative Party, because we are building that support back, and we will continue to reach out to Canadians to make it to the next one.
Dan, this is going to be your third term, first elected back in 2011 to Parliament.
Yes.
What do you take away from tonight's result? What is the message you think you're getting from constituents?
Well, I believe that they've said that they appreciate my work as a member of Parliament. That's very gratifying. Being on the doorsteps, hearing the challenges that we have. They've said I've been a champion for them in Ottawa, so this is another mandate for me to go back. But I think the approach works, again, to be as accessible as I can, to make sure I'm coming back here to the riding, being accountable to people, trying to give them representation that not only they can be proud of, but getting results that show that the approach works. So I'm excited about the opportunity to serve in the 43rd Parliament and to meet all these new colleagues that we're going to have. Again, every time we have new people coming into the Conservative, new members, it makes for a stronger team in Ottawa and makes our voice even more powerful.
Can you tell us what your first priority is going to be now that you've been re-elected, or in this riding particularly?
So again, I've spoken of a number of things. I want us to continue to deal with forestry. The first thing I said in the 42nd Parliament was to stand up and to talk about the need for a softwood lumber agreement with the Americans. The last thing I left in the 42nd Parliament was to say the government had not delivered in that area. Right now, forestry is going through a crisis. The provincial government and 21 mayors in British Columbia have said that the federal government has not come to the table to help support these communities. So I'm going to be a voice for forestry. But locally close to home, Lake Okanagan still does not have protections. The Okanagan Basin Water Board, you all know, have done a fantastic job of laying out what is required. So I'll be continuing to work with that, and I need more colleagues to do with that. So Mel Arnold's been working on this issue, I've been working on this, and I hope to have both Tracy Gray and Helena Conant as colleagues. Again, but that's for the people still to say.
Are you surprised by the amount of votes that you won?
Well, again, it's totally up to voters. All you can do is put out your heart out there, what you're going to do and what your record's been, and then hope that you'll get support for that. And so tonight, I feel good about the result. I feel thankful and I feel gratitude to the people that have supported me, and I promise to again continue to represent people in a way that I think they would agree, that they would be proud of. again, people may not always agree with what comes out of my mouth, but hopefully they'll agree that it makes for a better Canadian politics.
Dan, you've said on multiple occasions that an MP must have a private member's bill on the floor ready to be debated if that opportunity comes up. What do you plan on bringing forward in this Parliament?
Well, that's a really great question. So first of all, in my listening component of At the Doors, I've had a few suggestions on some new areas to research, but I also have some previous private members' business that have not gone forward. For example, updating our charities law so that if someone donates a virtual currency that it gets the same tax treatment as you would if you were to donate a house or some stocks to a charity. That's important to me. Also, we also know that fires and floods are an issue, and evacuation orders, can be issued, and people are sometimes concerned about looting. So I've brought that forward. I actually did a householder just before the election in the spring, I believe, and I asked people to rate their priorities, and I actually would like to take a second look at that, just to make sure that I'm always speaking on the issues that people feel most strongly about. So I do have legislation that's ready to go, ready to debate, but I also want to keep investigating, because that's how you show constituents that the system works, is by listening and by taking action.
With Tracy Gray expected to be elected on the other side of the lake, does that open the door for some collaboration with that riding that maybe wasn't explored before?
Oh, absolutely. So, for example, Mel Arnold is was the member of Parliament for North Okanagan Shuswap, and I expect he'll be again. He actually raised the issue of aquatic invasive species at the Parliamentary Fisheries and Oceans Committee, and there's a number of recommendations there. Tracy Gray is a former chair of the Okanagan Basin Water Board and knows this issue inside out. And so those are two people I would look to absolutely first working with, because let's be mindful, if Okanagan Lake goes, then eventually you're looking at Skaha, Lake Osoyoos, Nicola Lake in the Nicola Valley. These are all important lakes, not only just in terms of their tourism value, in terms of the fishing that can happen in Nicola Lake, but also in terms of they're a source of water. And again, if that's compromised, we're compromising publicly funded infrastructure that needs to be protected. So there's so many different reasons as to why we need to work together on that. And so I'm looking forward to seeing a few new voices that are very familiar with the fund.